Hello everyone, this is Gorax and today I'm going to show you the best teams to tackle Thelendor Continental Challenge boss. In this video you will find an answer to what element heroes you should bring, because despite summon heroes having extra damage, you can also bring other teams, so you can mix and match and find the teams that will in total give you the highest points to be able to rank higher. In this video, we will cover mostly the best formations. I'll create a separate video for the free-to-play formations against this boss, as in this, I don't want to make it too long, and with addition of free-to-play, this video could be even a half an hour long. First, let's explain what test and setup we have. So this is the affinity up to tier 5. I did not invest any points at tier 6. Some of you might start slowly investing into tier 6 affinity depending on how you're doing in the game. On top of that, there will be no temper on the equipment or the extra elemental affinity. This will reflect what you can get straight out of the dungeon and use on your heroes. So while the damage you see might be lower than the one you do, this will give you a great template to follow. All of these builds will be available in my spreadsheet that you can find in the comment section down below and in the pinned message and description of the video. First, let's explain what Thelendor's skill set is. He gains Rally. When consumes Rally, he will deal extra damage. His battle skill will deal extra radiant damage to enemies around it and grants him Rally. So what we need to do is we need to either bring someone who can dispel the Rally before the ultimate goes, as this will deal tremendous damage and destroy your team, or delay him in some way. What we can also do is pray and restart the fight again. So this is the team that does the lowest damage of the teams I prepared. For those of you who have Lothier and want to use him, we're gonna use Lothier with an exclusive artifact. We're gonna use the 4 mythic setup. We need extra healing and we'll use Mountain Echo on him as we have 0 accuracy, so we will not be applying any poison stacks. Our tank will be Reita, who works here exceptionally well thanks to this passive, as well as applying recharge speed penalty and also attack penalty on the enemy. She will be built with Puppeteer set, which will grant us extra ultimate energy, and since she applies debuffs, we will use the Tunnel's King Legacy set that will grant her some self-healing. We need to use Rift Hourglass to boost her skill to at least 15-second rotation. We will use Durango instead of Corrin. We'll use Durango with Witch's Remain and the Brotherhood, well, 3 Ears set that will grant us extra ultimate energy. And since he is built with accuracy and applies debuffs, we will use the Tunnel's King set to boost his self-healing. Our second damage dealer will be Vikana, utilizing Queen's Fan and the Enlightenment build. Since she is not built with accuracy, she will not apply poison. We will instead opt for the Mountain Echo to grant us some sustain. Lastly, we will use Twitch as another damage source, and we will use the 4 Mythics equipment. He does have enough accuracy to apply poison, so we can replace Mountain Echo with another glove, the Tunnel's King one. However, I did not have one with attack percentage. So when the fight begins, you can see all our melee heroes all next to each other. We don't really need to spread the heroes so far away. We can use them all together as long as we avoid Thelendor's battle skill area. So even placement like that makes sense. Once we get to the higher stacks, which means around 4th minute of the battle, Thelendor will start nuking us because we have not much that can deal with his ultimate. The rotation here is pretty simple. We're gonna use Durango to use Witch's Remain, followed by Vikana and Twitch, and at the end we will use Lothier. We will be not at 40 stacks constantly, we will drop the stacks quite significantly, but as long as we time our Lothier around before all the stacks drop and instead increase, we will do even more damage, so timings are crucial. As long as a single target don't get multiple hits from the ultimate, we should be just fine to survive. If your Psychic Core is developed better than mine, you might consider replacing the Sustain Gloves on a few of the heroes and try more damage on them. Reta will eventually fall, but that gives us at least one more rotation on the ultimates to deal damage, and as you can see, the team is close to doing 200 million damage, which is what we are aiming against each boss. As at 200 million damage, they got 90% damage reduction. Lastly, let's mention the skill timings in this team. So Reta will go whenever at 15 seconds. This is why we have Hourglass and the set that helps her with the recharge of the ultimate points. We'll start our damage rotation with Durango, followed by Vikana and Twitch shortly after. Now, when you start the fight for the first time, you need to look how many stacks of poison you got at what time and basically cast your Lothier ultimate at that time. I put it at 13.5, but I bet you can find better timing than that depending on your team. Possible replacements in this team would be as follow. So, in the poison team, you will bring Corin instead of Durango and play it like the Temporal Vortex team with Vikana applying Witch's Remain. On top of that, you could also utilize the support Ogok with the Horn, which will help you increase the damage instead of Reta. Our second team would be the copy of the second best Temporal Vortex team, which will be Dauntless Nastienka with Ifukatl as a support. The equipment is pretty much the same, but we're looking for this Mountain Echo set on our damage dealers. Ifukatl will run once again our Relium Vest, and we don't really need Skybound Alliance here. You can put something else, even the Sustain Gloves. What Ifukatl brings to the table, however, is a chance to dispel in one buff from Thelendor with her battle skill, so that's quite significant. If you can build her with accuracy, you will increase the survivability, especially if she times it correctly, but we can't time battle skills, so it's not always optional. Sufa will be once again our Witch's Remain applier, and we will use the 3 ears emblem set on her. Ivelios will be the second damage dealer, and you can easily put him as far away from the boss to utilize maximum damage. But keep in mind that this defense up and shield is in a diamond shape area, so he can't be that far away. And Ifukatl has to be the main tank. We also want to avoid the battle skill with our range heroes, so we can move him a little bit to the back. Keep that in mind, the placement will play a crucial role here, so make sure you benefit from everything. And Farival will be using Silver Star Horseshoe. Once again, if you notice that he can't survive, you can replace Presage Carnage with the Mountain Echo. But so far with his stats, he's been doing okay. It's all about the randomness of the ultimate. If it hits multiple hits on the single target, we will die. So before the timings, let's have a look at what happens during this fight. As you can see, Thelendor moves. We are avoiding his ultimate, we are avoiding his battle skill with our range heroes. Only the melee heroes are taking damage. And Ifukatl, we could try building Sufa as a tank here, as Sufa is doing barely any damage, and move Ifukatl to the back, but that's not mainly the issue. When it comes to the skill timings, they're very similar to the Temporal Vortex team, so let me quickly show you that after the fight finishes. So as you can see, if Ifukatl dies, the team has to struggle to survive, but we're hitting that 200 million damage threshold. If you can make Ifukatl survive more, then you can do even more damage with this team, but 200 million is the goal. Now, let's have a look at the timings with this team, and they basically reflect what we had on the Temporal Vortex. We will start our rotation with Farival's skill, then use Nastienka's skill followed by Sufa and Ivelios to basically grant us as many hits to boost Nastienka's ultimate skill damage. Now, in this case, we can easily adjust it. We want this shield defense up and heal basically few seconds after. We could run her with enough haste to do 18-second rotation, and that would help us a lot. Actually, we even can do it because we have a set that boosts our ultimate points. We want to wait few seconds at 18 seconds before the boss does this to make sure we get extra healing. So we can adjust this to, like, if the boss hits us at 18 seconds, we can go with like 19.5. That will help, and if we run this fight again, maybe we'll be able to survive a little bit longer. So once again, see what kills you and when kills you, and adjust your timings. The timings I'm using might not be perfect, as it all depends on your haste, etc. So as you can see, we're being able to keep our heroes alive thanks to that ultimate at 19.5, but if your heroes tend to die, try 18.5. Look at that, that was just perfect to keep Farival alive. And as you can see, we survived just a tiny bit longer, still doing similar damage, because remember, after 200 million you got 90% damage reduction on the boss. Now, believe it or not, we don't really need Ikukato or any support here to get to 200 million. If you have 5 Dauntless heroes. In this team, we're going to use Divine Ascetic as our tank that will absorb the damage from enemies, heal with Mountain Echo, and deal not that much damage, but boost the damage of Nastienka, who will be still the main damage dealer. When it comes to the equipment, it's similar to what we used. We could even build Sufa with the Ancestral Protection set and instead give this to the monkey to make it stronger and deal more damage. But this is enough to hit once again 200 million damage. The rotation on our damage dealers is exactly the same timings. The only difference you can see is using Wukong here. The Holy Monkey is on default, and look how quickly he gains the ultimate energy, constantly spamming his ultimate, while he's doing a little bit more damage than Farival, which is, I would say, quite good, as Farival is built with damage as well. He is not the greatest damage dealer, but we can see Nastienka's damage going up, and the team, if survives, can get to 200 million damage. Once again, that's all we really need on the bosses, unless we want to compete and be in the top player. Then, obviously, you will use one of the top teams that are there. I started with the lowest damage, and I'm going to climb it to the highest damage possible. So you will see the teams that can do even more damage than this team. As you can see, the sustain on this team is pretty decent. Look at that, 190 million, and everyone is at full HP. Monkey is the only one that is taking the beating. And we are over 200 million with 2 minutes to spare. But this is where Thelendor's damage will skyrocket, and we'll start noticing how powerful this ultimate is, wiping our team at 203 million damage. But now, if you don't want to play Ikukato and you want to just quickly get 200 million, this is a valid option for you. But that's not all when it comes to Dauntless teams. What if instead of Monkey we bring invincibility with Zephy and extra attack for our range hero Ivelius? Well, this team can outdamage the previous one. This team can do almost 210 million damage, and everything else is pretty much the same as you can see here in this case. We will be using Echo Mountain set to keep ourselves top up so we don't die from the battle skills. When it comes to skill timings, they will be exactly the same, with Zephy on 18-second rotation, starting at 18 seconds. We want to start his ultimate when Thelendor starts casting his. It grants us the time to go low and go into invisibility mode. And this works really well, as we can survive almost, I think we can survive the whole battle as well. Can't remember, I've done so many tests, but we will see that during this quick demo. So as you can see, same rotation, 18 seconds, we cast this skill. Let's get to the higher stacks and see that in action. Okay, so here we are, we can finally take some beatings, take some damage, and as you can see, Zephy will be the one with the lowest HP. Ivelios slowly following, as Ivelios doesn't do as many auto attacks as everyone else, but this immortality keep our team just barely alive, and we're doing 202 million damage right now. We hit that 90% damage reduction at 4 minutes. So let's see how long we can stay alive with this immortality. Can we survive the whole battle or not? Because that will obviously increase the damage over that 200 million threshold. That will reduce, and it's very hard to get over this, but don't worry guys, there is a team at the end that will do quite significant damage to Thelendor, and that's probably the best team you can build. Maybe not optimized ideally, but something you can definitely out damage. And that's it, 210 million damage. Almost whole fight, and way higher damage than the previous Dauntless teams. But hey, you don't need Zephy to do over 210 million damage on this boss. You can just bring Nathaniel with Horn that will boost the damage of the team. Quickly show you timings, they're pretty much the same, with the difference of Nathaniel casting the ultimate at 21.5. Once again, look what's happening. You can change it to like 18.5 or even 19 seconds. That will work too. If I manage to finally press the right buttons, 19 seconds here will work as well. This will grant you extra defense, shield, and increase your survivability. So let's have a look at this fight. Remember, the damage dealer timings do not change. Now, if you wonder if Nastienka without exclusive can do similar damage, the answer is no. The damage will drop, and everything without exclusive artifact will be in the spreadsheet, as in this video I want to focus on the best of the best teams. So, the fight is going on, we're doing quite a lot of damage. As you can see, the DPS on Nastienka is higher than in previous fights, mainly because we're getting the benefits of the Horn. Now, once again, since it's Nathaniel, the placement of your heroes is crucial to get the shield and get the AoE healing that we get. We got to 202 million damage with 1 minute 25 on the clock. Nathaniel is slowly taking the beating. As you can see, the damage of the boss is quite significant now. So since he is squishier than any other support we used so far, I'm expecting him to die, but look at this, we still managed to get to 210 million before he falls. So yeah, this team, my highest so far was 212 million damage. And that concludes the Dauntless teams. Let's move on to the next team. Wild team that did 213 million damage. Now when it comes to Wild, it's always Wild. I mean, the rolls are random, but what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use Crisis. Crisis will dispel the shields, which we don't need here, but he will grant us attack penalty on the boss, and also dispel one buff from the enemy. So if this battle skill times correctly, we can remove it, reducing the damage. When it comes to the equipment, Ancestral Protection and Hourglass to be able to do 18-second rotation. We are following and copying the equipment we used on Temporal Vortex with Erich and Puppeteer set with Organs to grant more attack to Flora, Felicity with Witches Remain, and 3 Ears Emblem set. We will use Caspar, that's Caspar, with the Ring of the Scarlet, 4 Mythics, and dealing as much damage as possible. Flora will use her exclusive. Once again, without exclusive, you're looking at 30%, 40% drop here. Okay, 4 Mythics once again. To help us with sustain, we will use Mountain Echo on the team, and the skill timings are very similar to what we did on Temporal Vortex. And in here, we should be looking at 18 seconds with 18-second rotation. So our damage rotation will start with Flora, followed by Casper, shortly after Felicity on default, and we'll finish with Erich. That's the skill timings, so let's have a look how this fight looks, and it's pretty much standardary. If you watch this video up until this point, you know this fight in and out. We will cast attack penalty, shield our heroes so they don't die. The boss also will do less damage, and if we're lucky, we will be able to dispel using battle skill before he casts his ultimate. We get to 207 million damage at 1 minute. The thing here with Flora is, if you manage to time her ultimate before you do 200 million damage, and then she explodes, she will do a lot of damage straight away. I went from 198 to 207 million, and we're at 212 million. And once again, wild team, very random, but the damage is still there, still out-damaging Nastienka against Thelendor. So who knows, maybe you'll have easier time against Thelendor rather than Vinyara, who is the next boss and the boss that this team should excel at. So that's not it, that's not all of it. There are other wild teams that can do similar damage. So if you don't have Crisis, don't worry. Let's have a look at these teams. Similar to Crisis, we can use Dauntless. Works similarly, no attack penalty and no dispel, so that means we will take a beating, but the damage is still there. The team did 216 million damage. The rotation will be the same as we showed you in the temporal vortex. Adolphus will be on default. Previous timings for the DPS work as well. We'll start with Flora, followed by Casper, shortly after Felicity at 12:1, and then on default, and Erich later on. So I wonder if we can see that boost of damage in action this time around when showing this team. 188 million, 190. If we get to 40 stacks on this, we would, but we didn't, so we're not gonna get this extra amazing damage, right? Look at this. Previously we went from 190 to 207, now we're gonna lose that. So that's crucial. If you manage to time it correctly, with this team, you will get even more damage. So work on that. Get this extra damage. And here we are again, 209 million so far, 12 seconds on the clock. This could go higher, depending if you fit into that window. And we can survive the whole battle, no problem, no issues. So just to confirm it for you guys, let me show you the timings of this team, although they are pretty much the same as the one from the temporal vortex. So there you go, skill timings for you to copy and deal over 210 million damage against Thelendor if you decide to use Wild Team there. And the last Wild Team that seems to do the most damage here, we're gonna use Ogok with Horn. Horn will boost our damage. When it comes to skill timings, we're gonna use similar skill timings to the ones we used on the temporal vortex. However, in here, if we can get him to 18-second rotation, we should, or we could instead use 18-second and 18-second rotation, granting us this immortality to survive the whole battle. However, that would mean we need to drop Horn and get Hourglass, because he is from the poison affinity, so he's not getting the benefits of the Brotherhood set that we have. Or is it the Puppeteer set? Sorry, yeah. So he is not getting benefits of it, so it's not ideal. But the team does the work. Okay, we can survive long enough to deal good damage thanks to the Horn buff, as that boosts the whole Steam damage. Okay, we sadly missed the window again, went from 180 to 201 million, but we are there. Okay, Ogok is now hardly surviving, as you can see. But if he does, we can still do a lot of damage. Look, we got 1 minute 25 seconds and we are at 205 million. So if we can make this team survive even longer, and you might with better psychic core than mine, we will, or even increased the temper and other stats, we will get to 210 million as well. And that concludes the Wild Team. I know this video is long, but there's only 2 teams that can do over 220 million damage, and we're gonna go jump straight into them. Those of you who decided to go for Lelvanis, well, congratulations. Against Thelendor and few other bosses, Salmons are doing amazing job. First, let me show you what's happening. So we're gonna use Velocia in the first team. She will grant us shields, control immunity, damage reduction, etc. We will use Lelvanis with her exclusive artifact. If you don't have her exclusive artifact, the damage will go down significantly. Okay? It will be harder to maintain, to get into the dragon form. And once she's got into the dragon form, look how much damage she's doing. Because she is the highest attack salmon in the team. 350,000 DPS, 400,000 DPS. That goes through the roof quickly. The mechanic is pretty simple. All we need to do is survive and let Lelvanis do the damage, and she can do a lot of damage. Let's rewind this fight a little bit further and see if the team can survive. So here we are looking at 850, 880 damage. That's a lot. That's way more than Flora and Astienka. We got to 200 million damage with 1 minute 50 seconds on the clock, and we're still going strong. 210 million damage and 1 minute on the clock. Easy. Look at our HP. Everyone is at full HP, merely because you could see that one of our summons has tanked the ultimate of Thelendor. Another one is tanking it. That's before Lelvanis consumes them. Summons are cheat code for this. They are made specially against this boss, as you could see that they gain extra benefits, but 218 million with me doing over 222 million on the previous fights. Let's go over equipment and the timings for this team, because there's an even stronger team than that. So Velocia will use Aurelium Vest. We need to make sure we survive. But obviously, as you notice, there were no issues. So, maybe we could tweak it around and bring someone else. Well, I'll show you soon. We'll use Irzelas once again, Witches Remain, following the deal we had with Temporal Vortex. We're gonna use the same defensive equipment here to make sure he survives. You can try and build him with extra damage, but since he will be taking this battle skill, I prefer to build him offensively. Lelvanis with this artifact. Without it, your damage will drop significantly. Okay, now I also heard you can build her with Gambler set, and this will do similar damage, so you don't need 4 mythics. I will use Cinderella with Downpipe Organ to boost Premsta damage, and we will grant her the Puppeteer set. She will be on auto, as you could see. Premsta will be built with Fun and the Enlightenment OP build. When it comes to the skill timings, there are multiple ways you can do it. About 18-second rotation with 18.5 cast. As you can see, this is just slightly after Thelendor casts his ultimate. You can even make it at 20, so there's higher chance of the summons to absorb it. But that would mean if they get killed, you lose damage. As I said, default here, 12.5 on Irzelas and 13.5 of Premsta with our Velocia on default. Now, onto the strongest team that I've made so far against this boss. And you may have guessed it, we are going to bring Thorin. Thorin will grant us the Solar King's Horn buff, which will increase the damage, and the team can do 227 million damage, which obviously above the 200 million threshold is quite significant. 27 million damage with 90% damage reduction. There's no many teams that can go over that with what I've built. Obviously, on your global server, this will change. You'll have extra affinity, probably, at least those of you who are whales and are really good in Temporal Vortex. They're good at guild battles as well. Your affinity at certain element, not all of the elements, might be higher than mine. So this is once again an easy team that can dish out a lot of damage. However, there's one issue, and this is why we luckily have melee heroes here. The target of Thorin will not go invincible, okay? So we need to make sure one hero does that, and that will be the tank. Otherwise, Thelendor will just run to the backline. And yes, we don't have shield, so we are vulnerable. I believe Premsta will eventually die, but look at Lelvan's DPS. 1 million, that is 1 million. 50,000 DPS. And this is what helps us. 2 minutes left on the clock, and we're 207 million damage in. If you can make this team survive the whole battle without anyone dying, I mean, Premsta is just additional 100k damage, but if you can get everyone to live for the 5 minutes, be lucky on that RNG with his ultimate, you're looking at very good, very solid, and rather stable damage, as you know, with Wild, it's all very random. Now the Premsta's fallen, and we still got 43 seconds on the clock. The good news is, despite everyone dying, Lelvanis and Thorin should stay till the end of the fight, so we still got 20 seconds to deal additional damage, and we're 227 million. And this team concludes this video, this rather long video. And once again, guys, I will show you the free-to-play version of this boss in the next video. It's going to be quicker. I still need to farm few talents to try different heroes, but this team works. This is the team that will deal the most damage on this boss as far as I could make it work. There might be some cheesy strategies, but these are the timings that you see. The only thing you could try is, when you run your Lelvanis, try the Gambit set as well, and see how good that is compared to the 4 mythics here. Once again, hopefully this big guide, a long guide, give you an idea that you don't need to have only one team to deal with this boss. You can use other teams. If you don't have Lelvanis but have Nastienka, use Nastienka here. I believe Thelendor is one of the easiest bosses, but I will have that info once I conclude the tests on all of the bosses. Remember, you have a whole week to deal damage. Don't do it on Thursday. Wait till the last day to submit your scores. You have 30 combat simulations per week. Use them once you find the team that works for your bosses. And once again, if you have not used Content Creator Bondcont, use Gorax 1 with capital G. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And like this video so others can get the knowledge and build amazing team against Thelendor boss. Thank you all for watching, stay safe, bye!